Hello everyone, welcome to Netreo User Group Get Together 2022. My name is Sana and I work as a PS engineer at Netreo. I've been with Netreo for about 5 months now, and before that I worked as a tools admin at Cognizant. So in this session, we are going to discuss about saving time using templates in Netreo. On the agenda today, we'll be discussing device templates, the use of device templates, and some of the best practices to apply templates effectively. Let's see what are device templates. So device templates are powerful all in one place where we can do all the monitoring configurations. They provide a way where you can automatically configure several Netreo specific monitoring settings for your managed devices. Only a super admin user can create, change, manage a device template. And once you've created a template or modified any configuration on the template, we need to always make sure that we rediscover the devices so that the changes that we have applied on the template are reflected on all the affected devices. So this is an important note in here. To reach to the template administration page, get logged into the appliance. Under administration, click on templates. This will take you to the device template administration page. This is the device template administration page. These are the different templates that we have here. So you can review all the templates, delete the templates that are not required for your environment so that we don't want any unwanted alarms. And if you see here, the first template is the default template. This particular template can neither be deleted nor it can be disabled. And default template is applied to all of your devices in the Netreo appliance, irrespective of whether that device is present in any of the categorization, that is the type, subtype, site category, the default template is applied to all your devices. So make sure whatever information that we provide in the default template are accurate and correct. Okay. All right. Click on the pencil symbol here. So this will take you to the template administration page. These are the different components that we can configure in templates. We have authentication credentials, host alerts, service checks, threshold checks, logging rules, and configuration management rule set. The first component here is the authentication credentials. We can apply the username, the domain name, username, and password. This is for the Windows device type. For the SNMP configured devices, we have the SNMP read-only string and read-write string if that is enabled. The version of SNMP that we have configured on the managed devices, we have V1, V2C, and V3. The field automatically disable device. So we will mention the number of hours here. So if we mention 24 hours, and if the device is not reachable for continuous 24 hours, then we are going to, then Netreo is going to disable the device, okay? And disabled devices are not monitored and they do not consume any license. And after that, we have version 3 configuration settings, the username, password, algorithm, the different algorithms that we have configured on the managed devices. Once all the information we have provided here, you can click on update. So this was about authentication credential. Next is host alert. The important note here before going to host alert is this host alert details is dependent on the service check. It is dependent on the ping service check. So if you click on ping service check, the action group here should always be black hole, because the action group that we are going to correspond to when this particular status result is the host alert check. So always make sure that the action group in ping check is black hole. Okay. And host alert. So host alert, we have two fields. We have contact name and the escalation tail. The contact name is the action group that we need to notify when a host alert alarm is generated. And action tier, when the host alarm should be generated, is dependent on the escalation tier. Escalation tier is dependent on the re-notification interval that we provide here in the ping service check. What are service checks? So service checks are status checks. So they are yes or no, up or down, reachable, not reachable. They are basically binary check, result binary values. If you click on ping check, we have the name of the service check, the description, alert after how many minutes, re-notification interval, and when the notification interval has to be notified. Okay, and like I said, the action group for ping check should always be black hole. So these are the status checks. Next, under the template administration page is the threshold checks. We have two types of threshold checks. One is the static threshold evaluation check, and we have dynamic threshold evaluation check. A static threshold evaluation, it will measure a statistic against a set of static threshold that we provide in this template, and determine if the value of the collected statistic breaches the value that is provided in the template. And if it breaches the value, then it is going to generate an alarm. So that is static threshold evaluation check. Then we have dynamic threshold evaluation check. It is also called as the anomaly detection. It uses more adaptive dynamic threshold values to determine if a statistic is experiencing values that are inconsistent with what is normally expected from that statistic at this time, given its history. Okay, so it detects the anomaly, and the other one, if we breach the static threshold, it generates an alarm. So there are two methods to configure thresholds. The next component we have is the log monitoring rules. This will allow one to look for specific text in a syslog from a monitored device. Okay, that is about log monitoring rules. The next component is configuration management rule set. So in this, it creates rules that trigger alert if the configuration does not match the rule. So if it does not match the rule, then it is going to create an alert. These are the different components that we can configure under device templates. Under this, we have a basic interface filter. So we can mention the interfaces that we want to monitor or we want to filter, so we can mention those interfaces here. Under that, we have types, subtypes. So these are the different categorization, and here we can see at what level the template is applied at. So if we see here the template name, so it says that this particular template is applied at the type level or the subtype level. Okay. This is about the various components that are present in device templates. Let's move on to what are some of the best practices that we can keep in mind while configuring the templates. The first important point is default template applies to all the devices. Make sure whatever is fed in the default template is accurate. And if the host alert is not applied to all of your devices, make sure that you delete this host alert group contact here, okay? And if the service check is not applied to all of your devices, make sure that service check is deleted from the default template, because this is applied to all of your devices in the Netreo appliance. So these are some of the important points. The next thing is, as the host alert is dependent on the ping check, make sure the ping check action group is set to black hole. And here the action group you can provide whenever we receive a host alert alarm, then that particular action group will be notified. So that is one important note. Okay. And one more thing is, host alert is not overwritten. It is always appended. So if you have a host alert action group here in a higher level template, and at the lower level template, you have another host alert contact group, then both the groups are going to be notified when there is a host alert alarm. However, service checks can be overwritten, but the description of the service check should be same. So for example, in some of the customer environment, ping will be blocked. So ICMP will be blocked due to security reason. In such scenarios, we can use a TCP port check or a UDP port check. For doing so, what you can do is to override this ping check on the default template. You can create another check. For instance, let's just create another check. Select the network connectivity check and say, let's say we are using the check TCP port to check the availability of the device. Click on select service check. And the description here, you need to give exactly what is given in the default template. So you should give the name exactly the same. And other fields, you can give whatever you want, like alert after how many minutes, 10 minutes, and the entry notification by default, it is 24 hours. Then escalate at how many re-notification, and to which action group that you need to notify when this particular service check fails. So these are the different configurations we can make in the service check. That is one important note. Service check, if you want to override, the description of the service check should be exactly same. Okay, the next is the next important pro tip here is, we highly recommend threshold checks to be managed through the device templates. So always make sure that the thresholds are configured at the template level and not at the device level. And the only time a threshold check should be added to a device directly is when that device has a template functionality turned off. Once that is turned off, you can apply the threshold on the device level. And for thresholds, if you edit this, Netreo polls a device for every 5 minutes. For instance, you are configuring this threshold for CPU. We know that CPU spikes up and then gets back to normal sometimes, which is the normal behavior, and it is not something abnormal. So instead of giving 5-minute time period, that is at the first poll, it is not going to trigger an alert. You can give it as 15 minutes. That is after 3 consecutive polling, a warning alert will be generated or a critical alert will be generated based on whatever threshold is given here. This is the warning threshold and this is the critical threshold. Okay, this is one important point here. Apart from all of these, we have an important tool known as the template baseline tool. The device template baseline tool allows a Netreo admin to evaluate and tune the performance of the service check and the threshold check to reach to the baseline template administration page. Go back to the device template administration page and click on the baseline templates. Okay, so this will let you see which device template and which template based service check and threshold check have the greatest impact on the number of alarms. This is the template name aggregate is the aggregate of the threshold check and the service check. So this is for this is the impact of the threshold check alone, and this is the impact of the service check alone. Aggregate gives the aggregate of both threshold check and the service check. So this will tell you which template and what service check is causing more number of alarms. So you can see the noisy areas and accordingly make some fine tuning so that it is configured properly. So this is one of the very important tool here. Once you've made all of your template configuration, you can come into this particular tool and see what are the noisy areas. So if you click on Cisco switch template, it will further drill down and give you a 30-day baseline graph on each day, how many alarms are there. And it will also give you what service check and how many instances and what is the impact of the instances. So if you want to further see what are the instances that are being impacted, you can click again. So this will further drill down to more granular view. It will tell you the device name, the description of the service check, and what is the impact of the service check. Okay, so this is one of the important tool. And these are some of the pro tips while configuring the device templates. And some of the advantages of using device templates are it saves your time because you need not have to go to different widgets to do the various different configuration. We have all in one place where you could do all your authentication credential, the threshold check, the service check, the host alert contact group. All this we can provide in one place. So it saves your time. The administrative tasks become easier. The management of the template becomes easier. And if you give thresholds, and if the thresholds are configured at the template level, the administrative task becomes easier. Because if it is done at the device level, then you will have to manually change for each devices. On the template level, it is more global and it is much easier. So these are some of the advantages of using templates in Netreo. So this is the end of the session. Thank you everyone for joining me in this session. If you have any questions about device template, please post them in the live chat and I will be happy to answer them. Thank you.